Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bronze Age Minecraft, a series where we set out to recreate the Bronze Age settlements of ancient Greece. My name is Daskalos, and I'm a professional archaeologist and certified interpretive guide. On the last episode, we built the Neolithic site of Dimini, and it turned out alright, if just a little bland. So today on this episode, we're going to look at some artistic renderings of Neolithic Dimini and build this settlement up to house the villagers from the village down the hill. Now I want to take this opportunity to let you know that every comment that you leave, every like that I get, and every minute of view time really gets me fired up to make more of these videos. I just want you to know I appreciate all that, and I really hope to continue doing these videos since I thoroughly enjoy making them. If you have like-minded friends who enjoy history, let them know about my channel and bring them on over, because I feel like what I'm doing here hasn't really been explored heavily before, and let's face it, we have a good time. Alright, now let's start where we left off. So this is an artistic rendering of Dimini, how it is right now. And this is about how I have it built, with some few minor changes. Now I've rechecked the map, and I'm gonna have to do some fine tuning to my interpretation, but that's neither here nor there. Most artistic renditions of Dimini show it as suggested by the archaeological remains. Now a few of them, like this one and this one, show a roof feature on the inside of the walls that goes along the entire circumference of it. This would suggest connected house units, at least that's what it looks like to me, and I rather like this idea of connected house units along the inside of these walls. There's another rendition at archaeologyonline.com that shows many houses and many more circular walls expanding out. Now I don't have the licensing for that picture, you can look it up for yourself, but I rather like the idea as well, even if there is no archaeological evidence for it. So I'm going to start building some of these housing units as depicted in these artist renditions. But what can we tell from the archaeological remains when it comes to placing these structures? Remember that second term from the last episode? You should remember the first term, which was social stratification, meaning the separation of people based on their social standings within a certain group. That second term was craft specialization. And what we find at Dimini is quite astonishing. What makes Dimini really special is that for the first time in the Neolithic, we really start to see solid evidence of craft specialization. Now here's a definition of craft specialization, but basically it is what it sounds like, people specializing in a specific craft or job. Now why is this so important to the emergence of civilization? Well, it shows that people are no longer being subsistence farmers, or for a modern term, living paycheck to paycheck. They aren't producing specifically for themselves. So instead of farming to feed yourself or sew your own clothes or make your own pots, you do one job really well and trade for everything else. Now this is a type of social interaction in a magnitude the likes of which we've not really seen up until this point. So when you think of crafts in the Neolithic, a lot of times you think of things that are necessities, things you need to survive. And Dimini wasn't making a necessity. Oh no, they were making something way more interesting. Jewelry. And what's fascinating about this is that they're making jewelry out of shells. And the more you look into the production of shell jewelry at Dimini, the more interesting it gets. Because they're using a very specific shell, Spondylus. And Spondylus is not found in the waters near Dimini, which means that not only is Dimini specializing in making jewelry out of shells, and therefore trading for other goods in order to survive, but they're also trading for the raw material to make that jewelry in the first place. Now, to us in the modern day, getting the raw materials to make something is kind of a no-brainer. That's what people do anyways. If you're a hobbyist who does wood carving, you don't grow the trees that you use the wood from in your yard. And if you make jewelry, you don't mine and smelt the ores that you use to make those. But in the Neolithic, that's kind of what you had to do. If you wanted to make something, a lot of times you had to have the materials already at hand. But at Dimini, Spondylus shells are found hundreds of miles away. Imagine being so good at a craft that people not only will trade you things that they need to survive, but they'll also trade you the materials as well. The best analogy I can think of is that you want to get a tattoo done by a certain artist, but that artist is on the other side of the country. So you decide to set out on the multi-day journey cross-country to get your tattoo done. That tattoo artist is Dimini. In the case of Dimini, everyone was most likely a jeweler, and we see this in the archaeological record. Here's a map of the artifact concentrations and what they are. One thing you'll notice is that at every level of Dimini, there was evidence of jewelry production, and they're focused on these buildings. So Dimini wasn't just a Neolithic settlement where people lived and died, but it was also the first real evidence of the emergence of an organized settlement with connected networks to other settlements. And this is a huge thing that will continue on throughout the Bronze Age and the rest of the Greek world.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Jesus. Dude, seriously?
5 minutes later.
That's better. Alright, my interpretation of Dimini is done. But before we get to the glamour shots, let's go for a little tour. So there you have it, my interpretation of Neolithic Dimini. Now I really hope you'll join me on the next episode, because we're going to be moving the villagers up here, plus a little more terraforming and probably building a dock with some boats. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a like, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because there's much more stuff like this on the way. In fact, I'm just getting started. So until next time, I'll see you then.